All right, I am here with Tony and Marilou Soria, and I'm excited. I was excited when this was happening. I was writing to Anthony, so Anthony booked it, and when I heard, I'm like, guys, I need to be involved in this one for sure because it feels like it's been so long. Yeah. I guess for anyone listening, we've known each other now for. What do you guys know? 14 years, maybe
14 years.
15 years. Yeah,
2007. Yeah.
Oh, 2007.
I think. Yeah.
Okay, and you guys were one of the very first, I guess, investors. And I don't know what number. You know what? We probably have some records someplace. I should go up and see what number it is. But one is the very first kind of investors that we started working with.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've been through. It feels like together. You've seen us go through a lot, and we've seen you guys go through a lot. It's been a fun journey, man, for sure. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where to get to, where to go to from here. Maybe just give everybody an idea of kind of. Who you guys are, maybe the story about like how you ended up coming to Canada, give everyone some context because that's always kind of interesting, interesting and stuff like that. So I don't know, kind of maybe start there.
Okay, we came from the Philippines and we landed here around 1999.
End of 9, yeah.
And it was in Edmonton, right?
No, in Calgary.
Oh, Calgary, okay.
Yeah.
So we stayed there for 4.5 years. And then Marilou was offered
got
a job
offer
here in Toronto. So we moved here. Yeah.
And what industry was that at that time?
I'm a chemist, so it's mostly in the manufacturing, chemicals.
Okay, so you were always doing that when you came over. So you had education from the Philippines,
yes,
in that field, and then when you came over, you were able to use that education here as well.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have master's degree, and it was certified here in Canada. So.
Okay. What was the problem? I'm curious. Why did you guys choose to come to Canada versus other countries? Was there a reason? Was it just easier to come to? Was there something more appealing about Canada? What drew you to Calgary?
We actually have an application in Australia.
Oh, okay.
As well.
That's a nice country too.
Yeah, first Australia. And then my brother, who is from Australia, moved to the U.S.
Oh.
So we thought we should go closer to him.
Oh, got it.
And then we were just walking to the Canadian embassy in the Philippines, and both of us said we should check it out.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you were in Calgary, you guys were, at one point you were thinking about buying franchises or something. Is that right? Was that in Calgary or was that when you came to Toronto?
Yeah, way back in Calgary, we've been thinking to purchase sort of franchise companies. So,
okay. And why were you looking into buying franchises at that time?
Because way back in the Philippines, we have a business also. So it's just we're thinking that it's better to have a business of our own. So we're looking at franchising with Tim Hortons or whatever. But that was not. It did not go through, so we moved here.
Okay. Okay. What kind of business was it in the Philippines?
It's a construction,
and that was on your side of stuff because
Yes.
that's your field.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, so then you came over to Toronto. So you got this job, and you're like, Marilou, you got to drag me everywhere. So I'll follow. You came to Toronto for that, and then where did things kind of head? How was that journey? How was it starting out in Toronto again? After moving from Calgary.
Yeah, so moved to Toronto. Both of us are working in our field. And one day, actually, it's a Sunday, and we're looking on the newspaper, Mississauga News. And I saw these small ads, Income for Life, I think.
Yeah.
And then I said, we should try this. I guess we're bored. And Tony said, oh, no, those are scam. Don't.
Oh, thanks, Tony. Appreciate that.
And so I asked that. I think I called, and then we received that mail with the yellow paper with those handwriting, very nice. So and then we came here, meet you guys. So that started, and we never have any regrets.
So from 90, you came to Canada in 99.
Yes.
Okay, so then you moved to Toronto. Then you said 5.5 years. So what? 2005.
2005. Yeah.
2005, and then we met in 2007.
Yes.
So relatively quickly. So then your kind of entrepreneurial spirit from being in construction in the Philippines to looking at franchises in Calgary, then you took that and looked at your real estate investing as that was the outlet for on the entrepreneur side of stuff for you guys. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it. We still look for Tim Hortons here.
Yeah.
But I keep on asking them, calling them, and it's not very expensive then. I think it's 250,000, something like that.
What is it now? Do you guys know? Do you have any idea? I have no idea. Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, that's. But then I don't know. We're always looking for something, and then I think I'm not sure. It just when I saw your ads in Mississauga News, and then we stopped on the Tim Hortons once we were in here, so we stopped looking.
Cool. Okay, so you decide to get into real estate. You guys are both working here, and then we met, and then we dragged you out because at that time we were just like, hey, there's this Hamilton Mountain area because that's the first place we were looking at.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? And the reason we went to that area is we had already been investing in other areas as well, in the Toronto area and stuff like that. But just the numbers were so appealing. Do you remember we were buying properties? What was the first property, the price that you guys bought at? Probably low 200 somewhere?
210.
Yeah, you remember still.
Yeah.
So that was a $210,000 was what? It was probably a 3-bedroom.
3-bedroom, single detached house. So it's in Upper James.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you guys still, is that one you still own or no?
Still, we own it.
How many properties do you guys still own? You don't have, if you don't mind sharing, you don't have to share.
Around 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had more, you sold some of those.
We sold around 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You still have
rent
that
to
one.
own.
Yeah.
Those are rent-to-owns. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
But we sold-
double-edged sword, that rental thing, right? It's good sometimes, but I think you guys had, the flip, so it's good on certain times, but when you have these like super high appreciation
I know.
years,
Yeah.
I know, who the heck saw those things coming? Like we've been talking about inflation for a while, but we never thought that like we're going to see 50% year over year appreciation numbers. Like it was ridiculous, right? So yeah, we kind of, I think a few of us were like, this 6% appreciation number we're using is maybe a little bit low. So the tend to say, you know what, at the end of the day, if, there's still profit there and the tenant, if you help someone get a house, it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's the turnaround is fast. That would be that's okay.
Yeah.
But if it's dragging too much time, so the percentage of return is not
Yeah. Then again, it goes down, right?
Yeah.
What about were you guys scared? Like you're so. If people are watching this, if you're just listening, like you're almost so understated, but you're so willing to move forward with stuff. It's always is something that both Tom and I have admired about you guys, because you're just like Mary, you're like, yeah, well, we just walked into the Canadian Embassy and we're like, well, maybe that's a good idea. I'm like, oh well, we're just gonna move to Toronto, and so and we're like, oh, we just saw this ad, so we're gonna do this, and it's cool, right? Because it's gotten you guys to where you are, so it's actually worked out very well for you guys. But I'm just saying, like, wasn't there reservations? Like, weren't you concerned getting into that real estate investing world when you didn't have the experience doing it here in Canada? Did you have experience doing it in the Philippines?
Yes.
Oh, you did. So you had you had investment properties there.
Not rental.
We purchase vacant lots, and I construct the houses, and then we sell it.
Oh, got
It's called build and sell.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that that's what you were doing there.
Yeah.
So you had some experience in the real estate side of things, which probably made it a little bit easier, right?
Yeah. It's what we are doing here in Rockstar is there's a connection.
Yeah, gotcha.
With real estate in the Philippines. What we are doing, yeah.
I think also your question, Nick, is that I don't know. We're just. We always say yes, and and we're so trusting. For me, especially when we try something, I said no. Let's see, and I think it's because before we left in the Philippines, my mom is crying. Of course, my mom said, when you're with God, no one will be against you. You go.
Yeah.
It's difficult. We have 2 kids moving to a different country. We don't know anyone, so.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't, because I think about sometimes my parents coming here. Now they came here without kids, and I've just Tom and I will talk, and we're just like, we have it so easy. We grew up here, so we're fortunate. We didn't have a big family here, so I can see why people here with either larger families or have been here for a couple generations, how they're able to benefit from having a local network of people that, hey, you need someone for this here. My parents know this guy who knows this guy that might be able to get you a job interview here, or they, you need to contact a lawyer. Here's the lawyer that we use for this. You have this network where when you come fresh, you don't have that.
Yeah.
You have to build that, right? And it's something that I think you can take for granted. Like, when I've kind of raised in this area, like I take that for granted that there's some connections here.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize you guys had kids already. So your kids were super young then when you guys came over here.
Yeah.
How old were they?
Around 6 years old, the youngest, and then around 10.
Older than I even thought then.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. And they're involved with what you guys are up to now with some of the properties and things. Aren't they somewhat involved? Are they managing? How's that work right now? Because you guys are both, you're retired from your full-time jobs. Yes. Are you retired from your properties as well, or do you guys still kind of take care of those?
No, we're still involved in our company in the real estate.
Okay.
Rental, yeah.
But we are mentoring our oldest son to take over sometime soon, hopefully.
So hopefully, yeah. And how did that come to be? Because was that something that he showed interest in, or did you guys kind of try to push him in that direction? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people, because we get asked all the time about, kids, and are your kids interested in this? What are you thinking? How did that come to be with him you guys are starting to mentor him in that type of world?
I think he's slowly liking it, because in the dinner table we talk about it, but when they were studying, they're just listening and they come with us. But I'm seeing our eldest now, I think he's showing interest. He likes it. He likes meeting the tenant. He likes, but the accounting side, I'm still doing it, paying the mortgage, collecting just all email, just all online. And my youngest got his own condo during the peak. He overpaid like $100,000 for a single condo. But I think without us knowing it, you're building the seed in them that now they see that, this is working, and they like it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. You just wonder if they're going to take to that or not.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't matter to me if my kids ever do that. I just want them to understand that there's other paths other than I think, I don't know what you guys, but I know the path that we were taught, the primary path is that you go to school, then you get good grades so that you can go to post-secondary, university or college, and you get a better education, and then that gets you a good job.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then in that job or that industry, you climb the corporate ladder, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just nice. I'm hoping that my kids pick up that, like, that is one way. And if that's the way that works for you, great. Like, that's awesome. Good for you. But if that's not the way that works for you, there are other paths you can take. And here's how there's other parts of this world works with this type of stuff.
Yeah.
If somehow I can get that through to them, that to me would then be a success no matter what. Whether they're into real estate or not, that's up to them, right?
Yeah.
You want them to be happy. That's one. We don't want to force them. But at the same time, you want them to be involved in what you're doing. So to understand what you're doing, that there's as you said, it's an option. You can live with this, with what we're doing. But you could, if you want to do what, my youngest son is a nurse, so he liked doing that, and he liked helping people. I kind of just try to discourage him. I said, that's a difficult job.
It is, yeah.
But he said, no, Mom. But anyways, that's a different story. But because in the dinner table, you talk all the time about this, and they slowly get it. So
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he must be a patient, caring person. It's not easy to be a nurse, especially I think in our system currently, the way our health system is structured. I think the nurses get a little bit the short end of the stick from the bit that I know. I don't know the ins and outs of the whole system, but from the bit that I do know, I feel like the nurses are probably undervalued, I think, for the amount of work that they do and the amount of what they bring to the table, right?
Yeah, it's a difficult job. Every time I see my son, I said, just go study again. Especially during the COVID. I said, stop working, just go study, do your master. And my son said, Mom, if you do this, all of us, no one will take care of the sick.
Yeah, good for him. That's a caring person. We definitely need those people in the world. That's for sure. So do you ever think you can step back from this stuff? Because I see you, because you're still doing the accounting and stuff, and and you guys are retired. I don't know, Tony. I don't know about you, but I have a funny feeling like Marilou. I feel like it's tough for you to stop doing things in general. In retirement, how busy is she in retirement? She's still doing a lot of stuff, I bet.
Yeah, but she's doing the tough aspects in the business, the accounting part.
Yeah, she wants to make sure she knows where the money is.
Yeah.
Accounting, taxes, following up with the tenants.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that that's been one of the key? Because look, you've been investing in real estate in Canada for we were saying for about 14 years. So you've been through. Sounds like 18 properties, so roughly, something like that, and you still have a bunch. So to do it for that long through that many properties, there's some level of success that you've had over time for sure. Do you attribute that, or part of that, to how you are with people? Like if the tough part, like you said, dealing with tenants, right? And that's, you guys are very, I think, one of the reasons your kids are caring people is because from what I know of you guys are very caring people as well. And I think that's transferred over to the tenants. Has that helped you guys, or have you been taken advantage of because you've been like that, more times than not?
I think we're caring, and I think the tenants see that. At the same time, we take this as a business. If they don't pay, they get the email right away. It's we're very nice to them. I talk to them give them something during Christmas, and they know that we're available for them, and we take care of the house. If they need anything, they could call us quickly. But they are good tenants. We are very happy that we got good tenants. We have one or two that we went to LTB, for example, but very seldom. All of them are staying. The first house we have, the 210, they're still there.
Wow, for all those years.
For all those years. And the contract lapse, we are here to say your contract has lapsed. Do you want to renew it? So, but now I'm not doing that anymore because of the price. But I think, they're also human. So we are nice to them, but they need to pay the rent. Yeah. It's a business still.
I think that's what sometimes people miss. I feel like sometimes, investors or landlords will get a bad rap because in every industry there's good and bad, it doesn't matter what industry, right? Yeah. And investors are the same or landlords are the same.
Yeah.
There's good ones and there's bad ones. So, and the stereotype is that, they don't take care of the property, or that they, they're mean to people, to their tenants and stuff. But I think it's important to treat people like they're humans, and it's like there can be arrangements that work for you as the landlord or as the investor and work for the tenant. Like this person's been there that long, obviously the arrangement's working for them. It's not, they're happy and content with where they are. We have one of the properties we have, I guess the longest serving tenant we have right now is probably about 6 years or so. I think that's the longest we have. And it's the same thing. And it's worked out well for them, and we'll take care of the property, and we'll update things when things need, proactively update, not just fix when something gets broken. If we're like, this is actually, right after this, I'm going to meet Dave, who you guys know, who's a contractor now, and then we're going to meet at a property because we're thinking about updating the kitchen. Tenants have been there for a number of years, and it's like, it's probably time for this thing to update, to redo it. It's a little bit expensive, but it helps the value of the house too, and we're open to it, and it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So when you guys met, you guys came to meet us And I'm thinking about Dave, and you guys have seen the whole team. You've had to work from one person to another, and and all that type of stuff. What kept you guys, after the first property, like what kept you guys investing in properties? Like why did you keep going with it after the first one or two?
We saw the benefits of acquiring properties. That's why when we have that first house, then after I think 3 weeks or 2 weeks, we bought again another property. It's in 17th Street.
West 17th.
West 17th.
Milton, yeah.
So it's once you tried already and started, then the momentum is there, and it keeps you, drives you to go on.
Yeah. I think, and you know what? Maybe it's different for you guys because you had less fear. Because I think often for people, it's the first one, they need to go through it, and then a lot of the things they were fearful of maybe didn't come to fruition, and then they're comfortable moving forward. Mm-hmm. But you guys are a bit unique. I mean, you're not the only people who are like that, but there's definitely the minority of people that were less fearful and just like, okay, let's do this. So you didn't have to go over that hump as well.
And it's not, we have both a full-time job. It's not a lot of time needed from us because it's a rent-to-own. People take care of them, of the house. And if there's something that needs to be done, you can just call a contractor because of our lease in our Rolodex. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not, I guess if it's too much of our time, it may be difficult, but we keep on going because we could still do our full-time job. I could still be a mom. And the rentals are just there, giving you cash flow every month.
Yeah.
So it's not been difficult, I think, for us. It's been, and we enjoy every time we have a new property. Two of us go out. It's our time to go out and try the restaurants.
That's the quality time. Oh yeah, I was going to say it's a quality time together. Yeah.
You have something to do on the weekend.
We're looking every weekend to go somewhere else. Take care of the property or inspect the property or meet the tenant. Yeah, we enjoy that.
And then you would find a place. Sometimes, I guess, you'd also then find a place to go out for dinner there to try someplace new.
Yeah,
that's it. No, do you know what's interesting about it is because you fit it into your lifestyle. It's not like a burden.
Yeah.
Like that's it's not like, oh, I got to do this. It's like you often when we talk about people with investing, it's like, you invest, you got it. There's no one best way to invest because we have, people are asking, well, what's the best place or what's the best strategy? Or I'm like, well, there's no one best thing. It's like, what's going to work for you? Like, how much capital do you have? What area do you want to invest? What kind of return are you looking for? And then, is it rent to own? Is it student properties? Is it like whatever else you want to build garden suites, like whatever you want to be doing? And then something that people don't account for as well is when you're picking the strategy, it's also what kind of time commitment that you want, because how does it fit into your lifestyle?
Yeah.
Right. And it's funny that you guys bring that up because you fit them into your, this is just kind of the way, the lifestyle that we're leading, and it's part of the responsibility we have. And then we kind of add on the leisure side to the back end of it too.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. The good thing is that when we entered to this business, the rent to own, you have the system. So we just follow what's the system is. So and then follow you as our coach. Before it's only Tom and you, and then came Mike. Yeah. So we experienced the system that you have, and we just keep on going, repeating on those systems. So there's no regret or there's no turning back.
Mm-hmm.
in doing this business.
It's a beautiful ride, actually.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Well, that's because you guys got an upgrade, because you went from Tom and I to Mike. So that to me is an upgrade. So we were probably pulled in a lot of directions, and it was probably at that time a good thing. But yeah, you were in good hands. But you say rent to own a lot. But you guys have had these properties for a while, so not like some of them, a bunch of them were rent to own that got bought out. And I know early on we were doing a lot of, the large majority of properties we were doing were rent to own properties at that time when we first met too. But the properties you're having now are now more traditional rentals that you guys are holding on to for long periods of time. Is that right?
Yeah, we still have 4 rent to own right now. And 6 are just the standard rental.
Okay.
But those rent-to-owns have expired, actually.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
But we're...
Yeah, you'll see what happens with... Yeah, because by the letter of the law, once it expires, it expires as long as no one's trying to, well... I guess there's like, if people are acting in bad faith and trying to get people to not realize it's expiring, or they can't buy, telling them they can't buy until it expires, there is something there if you're acting in bad faith. But if you're not, then that's ultimately the way these things work.
Yeah,
right?
You keep on following up. They're not so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not for everyone.
Yeah,
it's good for a lot of people as a way to test the property.
Yeah,
we always tell people that the number one reason we've seen those rent-to-own type things not work out is, and people like move on from the property, because sometimes they don't work out, they can't qualify, they'll stay in the property, whatever. But when people move on, is some sort of domestic issue. It's usually a relationship breakdown. Yeah. Right. And in that case, in a lot of those cases, it's probably actually better that they were in this type of, it could be better that they were in this type of arrangement versus owning a property. It can lead to a lot of problems. Yeah. In a relationship breakdown, especially if it's not as simple as like a marriage or something, and there's a lot of fighting going on. It can get messy, right?
Yeah.
So I'll never forget the story when one of the guys told Tom they had paid. Oh no, they didn't pay a bunch of rent up front, but they had paid. The guy called and said, "Hey, look, I'm not paying next month's rent. You have my last month's rent. Use that, and I'm out of this place," because he had not paid rent. And we're like, "Hey, what's going on? Why haven't paid rent?" So he returned the call. That's what he said, and Tom was asking the guy, he's like, "Well, okay, that's fine. Like, but what's going on? Like, what happened? Whatever." And when they moved in, it was him and I don't know if it was fiance or girlfriend. They weren't married yet, but I remember they were having a kid. She was pregnant. They were expecting and stuff like that. And he told Tom, he's like, "Look, I found out the kid wasn't mine, and we're done, and I'm out of here." And I was just like, Tom was like, okay. I mean, like, what do you say to that? He's like, "All right, whatever you want to do." So that was the end of that one. What about you guys? You guys have dealt with all sorts of stuff, though. Right? You had a fire in one of your properties?
Yes.
Right?
It's a brand new house. And
they tried to burn it down on you.
After 1.5 years, the tenant wants to install a
water softener,
and he's doing it by himself. And he's welding something in near the furnace. That's where the fire started. How
bad was the fire?
Oh, it's
the basement.
But the total fire is in the basement.
But that's all structural and stuff, was it?
Yeah.
Not really.
No,
so just the wall. But the insurance is nice.
Yeah.
They changed up to the 3rd floor. Everything.
Yeah. Well, I guess, what about smoke and stuff? Did they have to because of smoke?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of the smoke, yeah. But I think the basement, only the basement, and then I think the whole basement, right?
Yeah, the whole basement.
The furnace.
But the first floor and the second floor was damaged because of the water and the smoke.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. So what was the total damage then? Do you remember the bill from what insurance covered? Do you remember roughly?
I think around 180.
150, yeah, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 150,000.
So you can knock off 25% because everyone overcharges the insurance company. So if you got it, right? And then what happened? So then what happened to your premiums at that point? I'm curious because you had a bunch of properties at this time. Now you had a fire in one. So how did that impact you as an investor looking for more insurance elsewhere and stuff? Any problems at all or no?
We keep on going. We bought more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Todd is very nice.
yeah.
Todd. Yeah. So you get
Todd
your
is-
insurance through Todd. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. What anything else come up? What other things? Because you guys are very understated. So a lot of the stuff that you've battled, you're just like, oh no, we just had to take care of it and stuff like that. So like, was there a time when you were dealing with the property, you were just like, oh, maybe this one we should just sell it. When you just had that emotional moment where you're like, this is a pain in the butt. I don't want to deal with this right now.
There was a property that we don't want to manage because the tenant is very tough. And what we did is we have our property manager before.
Yeah. Andrea. I think
Yeah.
Andrea.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember who you're talking. Yeah.
Yeah. So we gave it to her to manage it.
It's not tough, but they're saying there's a mold, they're getting sick, those kind of things. If it's real, if it's true, if it's real, you could deal with it. But if something like that, it's more, his dad is getting sick. So I said, we better have.
And they're using that as an excuse not to pay rent
Yeah.
or something like that. When you know that the property's in good condition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But to add to Nick, that particular house where we have a burn, we have a fire, we have another accident happened there.
Oh, really?
After that,
What?
after reconstruction, and then they move in again. Then
The same people moved in again?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then what?
and then the guy, the
Husband.
husband, hung himself.
Oh, geez.
So
Wow.
That's suicide.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. I maybe I remembered that. I think you guys did let us know about that. I forgot. Someone else on our team had a situation like that as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's
then,
I don't like to hear that.
and
That's,
then we have a hard time to re-rent that property.
yeah, because there's a stigma associated
Yes.
with that type of thing, right?
Yeah, we sold it. And
So we end up selling it.
yeah.
Yeah, just move on from that
Yeah.
one. It's for whatever reason that one wasn't
Yeah.
between the fire and the suicide. It was just time to part ways with that one and move on, which is fine. And that's the thing. But it's like any investment at all. You don't, what if you're holding stocks, you don't hold on to certain things forever. There's some that you're going to hold on to for a long period of time. There's some other ones you're going to sell and move on, and so.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. I guess people are going to deal with all sorts of situations, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, this other one was when someone was squatting in the property, and they went in to show it, and they heard some noise in the basement, and then they called the police, and they were waiting there. They had the door closed to the basement or whatever, and no one had come out. And when the police had come and then went downstairs to see the person, they had found the same type of thing. Unfortunately, that they had, that he had hung himself, and it was just like that was, it was tough. I remember the person who owned the property. They felt like, I don't know. It just felt like it hung over them for a period of time. I'm like, hey man, it wasn't you. You didn't do this. But it's a tough one, and that's why sometimes this, it's what people lose sight of. Sometimes I think everyone looks at, maybe they look at the long-term results. So some people might be looking at you guys today and thinking, oh, they're so lucky because they got in, the 14 years ago. That's why, you guys are lucky. That's why you've had the success. But they don't realize that you have to deal with these types of situations. And I think the key to getting over them and continuing, like you said, you decided to buy more, is that you have to remove the emotional side of this thing sometimes, and you have to treat it like a business.
Yeah.
But is that ever hard for you guys to do that? Like you're business people, obviously, but you're caring people as well. So do the two things ever get crossed?
Sometimes you just want to extend, instead of them paying on the first, they'll pay the next month. We are flexible into that. Instead of the first, and as long as they communicate, I will pay on the 20th, sure. But you also have expenses. You have mortgage to pay. You have, property tax. So you have to really let them know that you need their payment. It's not, it's not this is a business. We are friends, but still, the bank will not. Will just get the property.
Well,
if
that's
I don't
what I mean. They'll be out if they they'll be out as well. So it's not it doesn't serve them, right?
Yeah. So
and then in that situation, if someone communicates to you, so they're communicating, so they don't pay the rent on the 1st, but they're like, hey, we're going to pay it on the 15th.
Yeah.
And the 15th comes and they're like, oh, I need one more week. Are you proactively saying, okay, no problem, but I still just need to serve you the N4 just because that's our process or whatever? Or are you just giving them that time? I'm curious what your process is for that type of thing, even if they're communicating. Because I agree, if they go silent on you, then you have to act, right?
Yeah.
I share that with our tenants all the time. Like, if you don't communicate with me, I assume the worst. So you need to let me know what's going on. But what if they are communicating? How much leeway do you give them before? Because otherwise they could drag it out for months and months, and then you're in a not so good situation yourself, right?
yeah. You could see their history. If your tenant is always paying and this just happened once or twice, that we are so nice sometimes. I think we don't do the N4 right away. But if they keep doing that, then we serve the N4. But most of our tenants have been in our property like 7, 8, 9 years. And there's one that's paying in a month. She will pay maybe on the 4th, and then on the 5th he will divide the rental into 5. But except that, but every now and then I send him an email. Your rent is due on the 1st, just so in the future if you come to the LTB, say you allow this to happen. But I always say that your rental is due on the 1st. Always, every
so you have a track record of it. That's a smart move, actually.
Yeah. So yeah.
You got to be doing something right. If you have multiple tenants that are there for that long, you guys are obviously doing something right from a management perspective. Otherwise people would be moving on. I know the rent increases are capped, but are you guys always raising the rent every year by the maximum amount that you're allowed to?
Before
late.
We don't. Just
that's why they're staying.
That's why there are some who are staying there for a long time already. But lately, we just follow whatever the.
So some of them have below market rents right now, especially where the rent markets have gone. I was looking at some numbers yesterday, and in a lot of areas, they're up in the vast majority of areas of Ontario, like populated areas, they're up anywhere from about 17 to 30%. That's like the average. It varies by area, but those are in 1 year, those are some big numbers because there's a shortage of supply.
I know,
there's like a real shortage of supply.
But once we have a new tenant, that's our chance that.
100%, because we have some situations like that too. How do you guys feel about that situation? Like, you're sitting on these properties, you have people that are paying well below market rent right now. As investors, are you okay with that because the numbers are still working out because you've had the properties for a period of time? Or are you like kicking yourself? You're like, oh, this is bothering me because like I really want to be getting, the top dollar for the property. Like, what do you guys think about that?
I think we hope we have increased the rent, but it's too late now. You cannot just give them, they've been there for 5 years or 8 years. You cannot just increase the rent without hurting you have to follow what the Ontario requirement is. So we just keep on increasing for the last 3 years now.
And and how do you guys find these people if the people are already in the property? Because I know that's what people are going to be thinking right now. They're like, hey, how do I get my new tenant in an hour after my old tenant leaves? Were you showing it while the old tenant was still in the property, I guess?
Yeah, we did show one time only.
So they gave you notice that they were going to leave, and then you asked them if it was okay for you to go through and show it to potential tenants?
Yes.
Correct, yeah.
And where were you guys find? Was it Facebook Marketplace?
Facebook.
That's majority of the leads,
Yeah, the Facebook Marketplace. Yeah.
How many? I'm curious, when you advertise that, because that's relatively recent. How many leads did you get? Like, how many inquiries did you get versus how many people came to see the property?
There are 2,000 clicks, and I think the inquiry about 100.
In what period of time?
2 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
And then because in Facebook, I am already qualifying them. I said, when you ask if it's available, please introduce the people who will be living, because there's a lot who are wanting to live in the house, 7 people, 8 people. So once they introduce them, and that pre-qualification is already good for us, and then I sent them the Ontario list, fill that up, so now you could see other information there, and most of them are sending their pay slip already, they're sending their credit score,
Okay, so
which is nice.
Yeah, they know, and it's because it's such a competitive market, they're trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah. So yeah, you're pre-qualifying them already while you're exchanging. Some of them I don't even reply because it's 3-bedroom. They want 8 people to live on it. And some are coming back and forth, question mark. I don't reply. So I said, at the end, I just reply, 1 person per bedroom.
Yeah, and even some of the way that they communicate, even the first, the first time they reach out, if they like write 3 words with a question, like it's just like, well, how serious are you? If that's the way you're going to communicate now, while you're trying to make a good impression, what's going to happen down the road if you're in the property and there's some issues? Like, how are we going to have to deal with this? So, like, communication to me is always a big thing. But like, what do you guys think is going to happen? Like, so you're seeing this now. You just have to refill this property. I was looking at some numbers, just supply and demand about rentals and just housing in general. And, we've shared a bunch of this stuff with you guys. You guys have seen some of the stuff we've shared over time as well. Like, what do you guys make of all this? It's a mess. Like, it's a mess right now.
Yeah. The new tenant that we were sharing a while ago is that she said that they've been looking for rental properties. It's really difficult for them to find the right house that they wanted it.
Who moved in? Who was that? Was it like a couple, a family? What?
It's a one family.
Yeah.
That
how many kids?
No kids.
Oh, no kids.
He has a son.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, adult son.
Okay, got it.
They said they reached out to realtors, but realtors are also saying it's difficult to find.
Yeah.
And so
it's really strange. Like, if you look at what's happening with the real estate market, look, we've had these like almost like all-time kind of historic spike in interest rates, not necessarily where the interest rates went, but the speed of which they've gone up, which you would think would really, in a lot of ways could really crush a real estate market, especially, for affordability when people are borrowing and things like that. But it hasn't, the prices came down, yes, but prices were up. They were up like, 60% in a 2-year period. Like, it was just ridiculous. So now they've come back down. They're still up over, over a 2-year period. It's going to range. I'm going to generalize, but we call it about 30%.
Yeah.
It's like anywhere from about 25 to 35%, maybe depending on the area, but call it 30% for argument's sake. So like, they're still up, and that's higher than the historic average. The historic average, when we look at the Toronto Real Estate Board, is really, if you go back to 1969, I think our numbers go, or 59? It's 59 or 69. If we go back to those numbers, it's really about 7% year over year.
Yeah.
Right. So they're still up it's almost too fast. Right.
Yeah.
So it's good. If they stabilize, it's good. We want them to.
Yeah.
I'd actually prefer if they don't increase, which sounds weird, I know, but I'm like, just let them sit here. I don't, if they have to come down a little bit more, like, let's get things in whack in out of, like, they're out of whack. Let's get them kind of in place again. But with the rates moving so much, all that's happened is they've come back down. Like, the craziness has gone off the market. The froth off the top of the market's gone.
Yeah.
And now we're left in this situation where there's not a bunch of listings coming on, and the spring market's kind of here now. This is the time when the spring market's here because it's warmed up and stuff. So typically we've seen this influx of listings that we're not seeing.
Yeah.
I guess some people are probably having some difficulties. There's some signs that some people are having difficulties paying because interest rates are higher now, so that might cause some. But looks like there's a lot of buyers waiting in the wings. Yeah. It's like our market dynamics are just all messed up, and I don't know. Like, when they have to drop rates again, because we can see it, the signs are on the wall already. Like, banks are failing in the States. Yeah. There's all these cracks in the system. There's going to be fuel on the fire all over again.
Yeah, there are a lot of people coming who needs houses. And we're not building enough for them. So
Tony, you need to buy land and start building. You need to go back to what you were doing in the Philippines, man. We need this. So, did you guys see when you were both at the last event?
Yes.
Yes.
Were you? Did you see Craig Race, what he's doing with see some of those infill projects on like a little single family lot? They're putting like 4 or 5 units on those.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the mayor of Mississauga sent us all a letter that I think the federal are assigning its city how many they need to build. And in Mississauga, it should be 120,000 for 10 years. I think the number is something like that. But Mayor Bonnie is saying that is our projection for 30 years.
Yeah,
they want us to do in 10 years.
Well, there's no room left. See, Mississauga, the problem with the city is there's no room left. Outside of Square One, all those buildings, which they're trying to cram as many as possible into that area, there's like, where else are they going to build?
Yeah.
I've always liked him. Sorry, go ahead.
I was thinking that the only thing that they could provide that number is that they have to build high-rise.
Yeah, but even at this point in Mississauga, where I guess there's some area, because if they go, I saw the plans for the down by the lake, the old water treatment plant. I think they got rid of all that area. Yeah. That's gonna go. The density there is gonna be huge. There's a bunch of buildings there, and then by Square One, they're infilling that whole lot that used to be old Rogers land that they sold, and they were putting up, I forget what the number is, 10 or 12 buildings or something like that there. So I guess that's where it goes. And then I'm curious to see what they're going to do with either accessory suites in Mississauga and that type of stuff, because that type of city with that type of subdivision, it's not super old, but it's not super new. So there is some lot size, they're not really squishy, the subdivisions. There's got to be some room for people to put accessory dwelling units in their homes. And I think that's going to happen more and more because that's how people are going to afford homes in the future. Yeah. They need that extra stream of income coming in, because if you can rent your basement out for a couple $1,000 a month, all of a sudden it allows you then to be able to purchase the home, and there's going to be demand for that unit in the basement. So I don't know. It's going to be it's an interesting dynamic, right? But if I could, we have one place close to McMaster University. So we've held off doing work to it for a while because we've been waiting for some of these laws to change. And so we've been waiting for this time now, and it's still kind of working through the municipalities of exactly what they're going to do, because we've been holding off purposely because we're like, what are we going to be able to build on this lot? Because we know they need housing down there. So how many units can we get approved, right? So we're thinking about knocking that place down and then building something with more units there. But we've purposely held off because we thought these changes were coming. So we'll see what we can get approved now, and then we'll figure that out. Because they've approved some weird things. And if you're familiar with that area by McMaster, it's so strange because there's like some housing, then there's like a lumber yard, and then there's a laundromat, then there's housing, and then there's a bar, and then housing. Like it's like these weird strips. It's like the zoning, like when they were doing the zoning, there was no real thought, there was no planning around that, right? Yeah. So do you guys have student properties ever, right?
Which one?
No.
Student properties?
Yeah,
no,
we never.
No.
Never, yeah.
So it's just rentals and single family rentals, rent-owns.
Yeah.
Did you ever do anything with like putting a second suite in and renting 2 units? It's always just been single family rent.
Single family.
Yeah. Single family.
Yeah. Yeah. It's simple.
More simple.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
Right. It's not rocket science, right? You guys are just like you said, you just follow a very simple system and that's it.
Yeah.
We have houses that we could do that, like West and the one in Martindale, St. Catharines. We have those, but
we have a quite big lot area on those property that we could build maybe another unit at the back. So we're thinking of that, but
it's for your kids. That's like for when their kids take over. That's their first project.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I always fight with that. There's something to be said sometimes for not trying to squeeze every dollar out of everything you got too. Like if you need to, I think more now when people get into the market now, sometimes that extra revenue stream's needed to make the numbers work.
Yeah.
Right. But if so that's different. So now if that's needed to make the numbers work, that's different. But if you're if you don't need it, then maybe it's not. Are you complicating your life?
Yeah.
By doing that there? Maybe there is a return on it, but now you're dealing with two tenants, two families on the one lot, and are you just complicating things to a point that maybe is unnecessary for you from a lifestyle perspective?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're happy with what they have now, rather than then you're dealing two tenants and maybe they fight or one is smoking downstairs, the upstairs. So we're happy with the cash flow that we have. So and more simple.
What about that? So like you guys are retired. You guys have both had successful careers already. So how do these impact your retirement? Like, are they impacting your retirement? Like, what's your plan for these things? You guys plan to hold on to these things for a while? Do you plan to, is it to give them to the kids? Like, what's the plan for you guys?
Our plan is that most of these properties we will be keeping it, but maybe in the near future we could sell some of it to finance our retirement.
Mm-hmm.
The retirement from the government is not enough.
I see my parents' checks. I know they don't. It doesn't go. Look, and it doesn't go far.
Yeah, we have a very nice equities on those properties already. Mm-hmm. So one or two properties, maybe they could manage to finance our shortcomings in the retirement funds. Yeah.
Or maybe not sell anything. My boy said, "Mom, don't sell anything." Well,
you're going to have to pry them away from Marilou, Tony. You're going to have to pry them away.
Maybe not. Yeah, because when we were buying before, we got one for each of our son. We got one house for them, for both of them. So
and was that for them to live in, or you looked at it as like an investment property for themselves?
Okay. For them. So yeah, and they didn't know. Now my youngest son, when he bought another condo, he said, "Mom, the mortgage broker said I have one property."
Surprise!
And he said, "Yeah, you do." Why? I didn't know that. That's yours. We said, "That's yours."
So they were. I guess they were 18. They would have had to be 18 to be able to buy it, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you just, as they were like doing something else underneath their homework, you're like, "Hey, just sign here, by the way."
Yeah, that's what we did.
All right, we'll cut this part out of the button. Well, they're probably happy looking back now. Yeah, that's a nice surprise. So we're doing something similar, where we're buying like a rental property that I've like mentally assigned to each child. They're not 18, so it can't be in their name, but to me, that's like theirs, and then they can do whatever they want. Maybe they can hold it and rent it out. Maybe they can borrow against it and then use those funds to then buy their own property that they can live in, and they can hold on to that, just to try to, as like a foot in the market, and the plan's just to, the numbers on these ones, because I've brought them closer to home. The numbers weren't great, but I've shared this before, but I'm trying to drag my kids into the management a little bit at this age, because now my oldest daughter is 12.
Is she 12 already?
Yeah, she's 12. So I'm like, you know what? She's going to come with me whether she wants to or not. Okay. She spends enough time on Snapchat. She doesn't have to be on Snapchat anymore. And she's going to come with me, and then just to be involved in the experience. Yeah. And for that, then the property essentially will become hers. Yeah. And that's the idea. So that's the idea with both kids. We'll see how that goes. Mm-hmm. So it's a, and then what's next for you guys, just overall in retirement? Like, what is it? What's next for Tony and Marilou? You guys are traveling a little bit. You hanging out?
Yeah, we just came back from 1 month in Portugal and Spain.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice area. Yeah. Tom was recently in Portugal. I haven't been to Portugal. I've heard beautiful things. I've been to Spain a few times. Yeah. Why Portugal and Spain? Why'd you guys head over there?
Just want to go to Fatima. That's the first thing.
Okay.
I want to go to Fatima, and then that's the first, and then see all the churches. We've been to different parts of Europe, but I said I haven't been to Fatima, so we went there.
Oh, nice.
Portugal and Spain.
And we're looking also can we retire there? So
Yeah,
You know who's there? I don't know if you ever met them. They're part of the VIP group, but because you were in the States for a while working at, you might not have met them. Ernest and Rizel are there. And they're in Portugal. They're on an island now. They've done a couple things where they've bought properties, fixed them up and stuff. They bought this old property with a little, is it like a little pyramid on it or something? And they've had to clean it all up, and they're doing stuff in Portugal on the islands there, and I think they're going to stay there for a while now. She's coming back in July. I think she's coming out for a podcast to share everything they're up to. But yeah, if you need insight into Portugal and how the real estate works there and that type of stuff, if you guys want insight, we can introduce you to them.
Yeah, it's a beautiful country. Yeah,
like I said, I've never been. I've heard from Portuguese people, and those people, when they tell me it's beautiful, I don't believe them because they're Portuguese. Those are my Portuguese friends that I'm talking to specifically. But when non-Portuguese people tell me that, then I'm like, okay, now I believe it too, right? But yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard it is a beautiful country, and from the parts that I've seen of Spain, I love. We've been to the south, and then Barcelona and the islands. And
it's beautiful.
I love Spain. Yeah, it's a beautiful area. I'm always think I'm biased towards Europe. So far, I don't think I've been to a European country that I haven't liked. So I'm definitely biased that way.
We travel now because we're searching where we could maybe a second place to stay.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, because when winter here, we could go anywhere that's not winter.
Yeah.
Or milder winter.
Wait, hold on. You came here and you were in Calgary, and if you managed Calgary for 5 years, I mean, you should be able to handle any winter. You should be good, right?
And then I went to Minneapolis as well. And
that's right. And we didn't share that part. So you were working here for a while.
Yeah.
And then how long ago were you in Minneapolis? When's the first time you went there? Like probably 7, 8 years ago?
7 years.
7 years ago?
2015.
And then you went there for work.
My company asked me to move there.
And then, Tony, you stayed here, right?
Yes. When her employer asked her to if she wants to move to the headquarters in Minneapolis, then they offered her a something that you cannot resist. So
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, that made it easy.
They gave her a six-figure bonus for just to move to Minneapolis.
Oh yeah, and you were, at that time you were going to be earning in American dollars as well.
Yes,
which with the conversion made that pretty nice as well, right?
So So
sorry, go ahead.
Then they offered her to move everything and sell our property here.
Relocate,
it's good that we did not agree to sell our principal residence. Mm-hmm. So they offered her to relocate to move all the furnitures, our stuff from here to Minneapolis, and
sell our home
and then
no expense on our part.
Those corporate moving packages are pretty good. They come and they pack everything for you. They cover the commissions. They do everything, right?
And then we were able to she was able to purchase a house there without nothing came out from our pockets
here.
Oh wow.
So they provided the down payment.
Oh, sounds like a little bit of a secret. That's okay. We don't know the employer, so we're good there. So that worked out really nicely. So you were able to. So you actually bought down there and held on to that, and then you sold it, I guess, when you left.
When we left Minneapolis, Marilou stayed. We stayed there for 7 years, 6 years.
Minneapolis, 5.
More than
2 years in.
That's a lot of winter. That's a lot of winter in Minneapolis.
I know. Now I'm seeing. I said, "Oh, I didn't know I survived." My friend in Minneapolis.
So, and then you came back.
No, from Minneapolis, there's another company that Marilou offered a job in Michigan.
And then how long were you there for?
Less than 2 years.
Less than 2 years. So we sold our house in Minneapolis, and it's a multiple offer. Cash buyers
Over the
asking price.
What year was that you sold? That was a few years ago now. So like
2020.
2020.
2020, yeah. So that's when the real estate market started taking off everywhere, really, because the government just flushed the system with money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
And they said, "Oh, who knew inflation was going to happen when you give all money to everything? You just put money everywhere." Yeah, who knew? Who knew that that's how it works?
Yeah. So we.
So real estate's treated you guys well in multiple countries.
Yeah.
In the Philippines, in Canada, and in the U.S.
We live in Thailand too. We live in 4 countries now.
In Thailand?
Yeah, we live in Thailand too. We live in the Philippines and then Thailand and then Canada and then the U.S.
Oh, I didn't know you guys were in Thailand. So you left the Philippines initially and then you were in Thailand initially?
Yeah.
For 4 years.
Oh,
and
wow.
went back to the Philippines before coming here.
And then you were doing real estate in Thailand as well?
No.
It's in the Philippines.
Okay. Thailand. I've heard Thailand's beautiful as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, we lived there for 4 years. So, yeah.
You guys, man, congratulations on everything. Like, I think, I don't know, I think together you guys are awesome. You make like this excellent team. And then I think you underestimate some of the things that you're able to do or maybe the habits you've developed for yourselves is like, they're just rare. Like you're just able to push forward and you're like, yeah, we're just going to do it and we're just going to handle stuff and we just keep moving forward. Right. And now I get it. Now I understand, though. I think other people have seen that in you guys as well, because I know you've had a successful career. And then it also just with this last story, that if you were that important to this company for them to do all that to get you to move to Minneapolis, obviously they saw those types of traits in you guys as well. Yeah. So I don't sell yourself short, guys. You're an impressive. I've always looked at you guys because I've always felt like you're, like I've said before, like understated, but I'm like, you guys are just this impressive, like a power couple to me. It's very cool the way you guys work together. Very, very cool.
Yeah, because doing this business, the real estate rent-to-own business, it's not interfering with our career.
Yes.
That's why we keep our career while doing this business. So
yeah, and if we could do it, anyone could do this. It's not difficult at all.
It's not. That's the one term that we heard from Greg Habstraight years ago. He said, "Yeah, it's simple but not easy."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Yeah, it is. It's very simple. Like it doesn't have to. People sometimes will overcomplicate things. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Not everything's going to go smoothly.
Yeah,
it never in any venture that you take on." Nothing ever goes smoothly, perfectly to plan. Like it doesn't work like that.
There's
right?
still challenges
in everything. I mean, well, you've been in construction how long in your life? I mean, how many challenges are there on a daily basis in construction, right? Like, so you just have to overcome those challenges. Yeah. And then, but there's like, it's worth it on the other side. You know, if it gives you, I guess it seems like in retirement, it's given you all sorts of a lot of freedom and flexibility that you guys can do a lot of different things that you might not be able to do otherwise, even though you've obviously have successful. Yeah. There's more that you're living on than just your government. The government check. Do you know what I mean? But it's changed things for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's we're still buying stock in the U.S. We're retired, and I'm like staking some in crypto. So those are things that we're just happy to do. Is that we still have our lifestyle. I don't put makeup anymore. The whole day you're wearing your pajama, which is nice.
But you're doing stuff. Yeah, it's different if you're sitting around not doing anything. Right? When you're doing stuff, that's what, to me, I feel like that, I think I'm going to be that type of person as well, because that's what keeps you just, you got to be, it's life. You got to live life. Yeah. Just because you're not working every day, all day anymore doesn't mean you can't live life, right?
Oh yeah, we have a schedule. We have to have a schedule, or else in the morning you wake up at 8. This is the first time you're waking up at 8, because when we're working you wake up at 6. Yeah. So 8 o'clock, and then doing my yoga. So those are different kind. Then you're in the computer already looking, because I have stocks in the U.S. still.
You're not stopping. Equities. You're not stopping. You guys aren't stopping. That's cool. That's very cool, guys. Look, there's something else that I just want to say. We appreciate first, like all the support over the years, but because we know you knew so long ago, like, you know, when we were getting started, and maybe, you know, we didn't have the track record that we have now, and there weren't as many people around for people to look at and say, oh, well, they've worked with these guys for 10 years and they haven't steered them wrong. And, you know, so, you know, but for putting your trust in us, and supporting us during those early times, it's, you know, without people like you guys and some of the relationships we built with you and other people that you know through Rockstar and stuff, it means the world to us, because we don't know if we would have made it, you know, without some early people coming on and saying, hey guys, like, yeah, like, I trust you, let's do this together. And, you know, hopefully we didn't steer you wrong. And, you know, so we genuinely appreciate it. So thank you for everything over the years. It means a lot. Like, it really, really does.
Yeah. If you need anything from us as well, I mean, we invited a lot of our co-workers, our friends to come here as well to join. They look at it, and then they did bought their own second house on their own.
Cool, good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now they're seeing that value, and all of them are saying, oh, we should have done it.
Yeah. It's always easy to look back, right? I mean, I look back and I'm like, oh, when I was 18 and I was, you know, going to college up the street at Sheridan, and I'm like, I should have bought I was coming to Oakville thinking Oakville was the edge of the world, because I grew up on the east side of Mississauga. Yeah. Like, who would live way out here? And I was looking at, you know, homes going up. I'm like, oh, well, you know, in the 180s. I'm like, oh, 180. This seems like really expensive for way out here in Oakville. I'm like, oh, looking back, I'm like, oh, that was a little bit silly of me, you know. So
yeah, there are some friends of us that they are saying that Tony and Marilou is they've gone a lot of things already. So
and we're even quiet. They just learn on their own.
Yeah.
Some of them.
And then some of our friends that we brought here, but they did not go, push through. And then they're saying that we should have done that.
Yeah. I mean, hey, everyone's got to find their path, you know, what's right for them. That's what I'm saying. You guys, the way you just push forward with stuff is not entirely common. You know, but yeah, everyone's got their path, and they'll figure out what's going to be the right thing for them. You know, cool guys. Thank you very. Thanks. Oh, sorry, you're going to say something else?
Yeah, there's one thing, and because during the our event, some people are asking us how is it in the U.S. Blah blah. So just want to mention few things that they may be important for others. In the U.S., when you get a mortgage, U.S. and Canada doesn't share your credit. So you have to show them your credit here to be able to get approval. At the same time, mortgage in the U.S., if you break the mortgage, there's no penalty.
Really? Even though long-term fixed mortgage is there?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They may be 30 years, but then 5 years, this is guaranteed, and then 10 years, you cannot go over a certain percentage, and then they follow LIBOR.
Okay.
The London, I think LIBOR has been changed, LIBOR has been changed now. So yeah, even our Michigan house, we broke it after 1.5, no penalty. So I don't know if that's just in the Midwest. I'm not sure if in the other
areas. Yeah, but it's something to look into, because it might be a benefit for everyone doing stuff down there. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's one thing. And then immigration in Canada, if you are a worker, there's a NAFTA. It's NAFTA, U.S. and Canada, and U.S. and Mexico. So for those who want to go there, as long as you have a job offer, you don't even need a visa. You go in the border, and then the person who's going to give you a stamp on your passport, as long as you have a job offer and all your credentials, bring them, then you could get NAFTA. But this is a non-immigrant intent. Intent for immigration to Canada, to U.S. is very important, because there are two classes of immigration in Canada, non-immigrant and immigrant. So if you're visiting for medical purposes, that's a temporary. So if you're on NAFTA, you're a temporary worker, I guess the immigration lawyer could convert that into an immigration. There's also a business kind that is also temporary. There's a business that's permanent, but you have to put at least $1 million, and you have to employ at least 10 people for 2 years, something like that. So those are different. There's also, if those who wants to go to the U.S. for work, there's E1 and E2 for those who have extraordinary abilities. You are internationally well known to have developed AI, for example, or stem cells. You don't need someone to sponsor you. You just go there, apply, and the United States will.
That's how they try to attract top talent if they can.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's one. And if you are, for example, McDonald's, they have their CEO or their director in marketing, they want to transfer to the U.S. That's a company transfer, managers and executives. I think that's where I was. So it's easier. That's a priority one worker. So there's different kind of ways to go to the U.S., but there's a immigrant and non-immigrant intent. The intent is if you are non-immigrant, suddenly you stay there for long, you may be questioned. Just consult an immigration lawyer.
So if you have the job offer and you don't plan on moving there on a permanent basis, then there might be a little bit of an easier path to be able to kind of get down there for stuff.
Right. TN visa, NAFTA is the good one.
Yeah, it's interesting because as more people look at buying some properties in the U.S., that gives them some stuff to think about for sure.
Yeah, someone asked me, you have the golden ticket, do you have Social Security?
Yeah.
I said, yes. Hey, you have a green card? Yeah, you have the golden ticket to buy there. And also it's not double taxation because that's what we think as Canadian. You work there, you tax in the U.S. and Canada. You will be taxed in Canada, but minus how much you paid already in the U.S.
Got it. Yeah.
So you'll still be taxed if it's higher here or higher there. So.
And one last question just crossed my mind. While you guys were down there in Minneapolis, was there any investing in property? Because I know you were looking, Marilou. You can't tell me you weren't looking, right? So, but was there? I guess I don't think you guys bought anything else down there as far as like investment properties. Did you?
No, we did kind of look, but then every time I see that. The rentals are being trashed, something like that.
And the appreciation before the
it's not too much.
It's not too much.
Yeah, because of the area, right? Because you're not in one of these higher population areas. Something we take for granted in the GTA area, or the Golden Horseshoe area.
Yeah.
We're for investing for that. So because of the growth in the industry and stuff like that, there's just a lot. We have a lot going on here, a lot. Like I tell people, I'm like, look, if you can't successfully invest in this area, it's going to be hard for you to go to these random small towns and you to be successfully invest because it is a different game. It's not that you can't do it, but sometimes I feel like you're complicating matters because you're focused just on like, oh well, this is just this lower price point, and that's cool if that's all you can do. But there's other things come with that, so yeah, that's interesting. Cool, guys. Look, thank you so much for taking the time to share all this and sit down, guys. It's been it's always cool catching up with you guys. So
thank you so much also for the opportunity to invest.
We were able to retire early because we know we have the cash flow coming from the rentals.
That's cool.
We're not collecting our Social Security and CPP because of these rentals. We said, I don't want anymore. We just retire. So
that's cool. That's super cool. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So the long game. It works out in the long game.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
It's YLYT.
Yes, it is. And now you're doing it on your terms. Right? Perfect.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. You can find every new episode of the Your Life, Your Term show on all the major streaming platforms. So Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. And if you'd like to get free copies of some of the books that we've put together, like these right here, or some of the reports that we've put together, like these right here, you can find all of those at www.rockstarinnercircle.com. That's www.rockstarinnercircle.com. That's it for now. Until next time, your life, your terms.